I thank the gentleman for yielding. I thank the gentleman for his leadership. I thank Mr. McKeon for his leadership. We will see today a bipartisan action. Bipartisan action on behalf of America, on behalf of its security, and on behalf of our international partners in confronting terrorism. Madam Speaker, today the House is fulfilling one of its most important responsibilities: to protect our national security and defend our interests overseas. Among those interests is to prevent the dangerous ISIL terrorist group from spreading and threatening American personnel, our allies, and innocent civilians. The amendment before us will authorize the President to train and equip moderate Syrian opposition to degrade and destroy ISIL in Iraq and Syria. No sanctuaries, no place to hide. ISIL is already threatening Americans and our allies in the Middle East and Europe, and if left unchecked, it will surely threaten us here at home. This amendment is Congress's opportunity to demonstrate unity in support of the President's strategy and provide him with the authorization he needs to help train and equip our regional partners to go on the offense against ISIL. ISIL has already murdered, captured soldiers, innocent civilians, journalists, including, of course, 2 Americans, and members of religious communities targeted for their faith. They're no more than a collection of criminal terrorists bent on imposing their fanatical objectives on others by force, violence, and barbarism. ISIL constitutes a dual threat. They pose a counterterrorism threat to the United States and our regional partners, and they represent a destabilizing force in the region. Madam Speaker, we cannot ignore the challenge that ISIL presents to America and to the world. There is no question that there will be challenges, but we know empirically the cost of doing nothing is far too great. The President was right to wait until a government had been formed in Iraq that is ready to move forward against ISIL. Americans don't want American women and men on the ground, but Americans do want ISIL confronted. Congress has an important role to play in this effort, and this amendment ought to be a strong and clear message to the world that the American people, through their elected representatives, will join those in the region to prevent the terrorist group ISIL from running rampant across the Middle East. It is a message to our allies and regional partners that our nation is prepared to train and equip those who are working to stop ISIL's advance. And it is a message to the world that we are united in our resolve to meet this threat. We clearly may have differences on this House floor, but we are Americans when it comes to defending our people and our country. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, with regard to the underlying bill, the continuing resolution, let me make some brief comments. House Republicans have chosen not to repeat their government shutdown from last year. I think they're making a wise decision. There are things I would change in this bill, just as I know there are things my friends on the Republican side would change in this bill. That's compromise. That's the legislative process our founding fathers envisioned. That, in fact, is governing. I am hopeful that this continuing resolution will give Congress the time it needs to complete work on appropriations for the fiscal year 2015, and that meets our obligations to the American people and to America's future. We need a budget that embraces fiscal sustainability while investing in job growth and competitiveness so that we can grow our middle class. While it's important that Congress moves forward with this 72-day funding bill, I'm disappointed, Madam Speaker, that we're not extending the Export-Import Bank's charter for multiple years. Not doing so is another example of undermining our competitive position for the world and the competence of our job creators. A CNBC pointed out last week, and I quote, "At first glance, it might seem like a congressional deal." One additional minute?
I yield the gentleman one additional minute.
I thank the gentleman.
Is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. At first glance, it might seem like a congressional deal to extend the Export-Import Bank's charter through June would be good news for the beleaguered institution, which supports American exports with loan guarantees and other credit assistance. In fact, CNBC posits it is the exact opposite. An extension to June could be a death sentence for the bank. I sincerely pray it is not. Congress has a responsibility to make sure the bank's charter is extended beyond June. We need a multi-year reauthorization along the lines of the one proposed by Chairwoman Waters and Representative Denny Heck. Actually, it's Ranking Member Waters. The Export-Import Bank is instrumental in helping small businesses access foreign markets, and uncertainty over its future has already cost American businesses lucrative trade deals. I ask between now and June to come together in a bipartisan way to move forward with legislation that achieves this goal. I believe that if the House is allowed to vote, we'll achieve that objective as we have in the past. And while I oppose this provision, I will vote for the amendment and for final passage of the continuing resolution, and I urge my colleagues to do the same. I think it's in the best interest of America, the best interest of our national security, and I urge this House to act in a way that will make our constituents proud and safer. And I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman's time